Hello and welcome to Enlightened Empaths, your community for the spiritually awakened, where we discuss, explore, and connect with fellow empaths, healers, intuitives, and seekers. Hello, empaths. Today we are going to share our September Community Connections show, and we have some fabulous questions that run the gambit from dream interpretation to spooky energy lingering on a land to all sorts of great stories of signs. So we're excited to dive into them with you all. As a reminder, if you want to share a question or a story with us, just email us enlightenedempaths@gmail.com. Don't forget, you can also find us on Facebook at Enlightened Empaths. We love to hear from you. Denise, do you want to start us off?
I'd love to. Our first one, my family and I have a small creek surrounded by woods close to home that we often visit. My youngest son has gotten into fishing over the past couple of years, so we have ventured down to the creek a little further to try to find a better fishing spot. But from the start, I felt very off there. I often felt like there was someone watching me, not in a way where I think some creep would pop out of the woods, if that makes sense. The next part gets a little weird, so please stay with me. A couple weeks ago, we were there at this new spot, and I was standing at the edge holding the pole and kept feeling this need to look around. When I did, it was as if the trees, wildflowers, and shrubs were growing or rising, the water and rocks almost rounding. This is the best way to describe this. There was one spot in particular across the water that almost seemed to open up like a mouth in slow motion. I promise you, I was in no way intoxicated or under the influence of anything at all. 100% all natural me. I even caught a fish and had no idea until my son told me. That's how drawn in and almost in a trance I was from this. My husband actually got worried I wasn't well, so we left. As soon as we got away from the area, the feeling and the vision stopped. I was there again yesterday, just with my husband this time, and again, I just felt uncomfortable. Even though I was taking in the fresh air and smells of the trees and flowing water, I still had this something that it wouldn't let me fully settle, and I felt on high alert. As we walked away, I said to him, I can't figure it out, but that spot is not giving me a good feeling. My question is, I had a suspicion about whether someone had lost their life there, since it's near a dam with a harsh undercurrent. I, of course, hit up Google, and it instantly came up there had been multiple deaths by drowning there in that exact spot. The farthest back I found so far was 1987 of a fireman who was trying to save someone else and lost his life. I've read about 4 or 5 more that have occurred since then. Do you think I'm picking up on bad energy? Am I being warned to keep my own family safe? I've asked while there, but I've not received any messages that I could recognize. Is there anything I can do on my own to bring some peace there? A ribbon around one of the trees, acknowledge those who lost their lives out loud, and let them know I care. Well, that definitely took a left turn from where I thought it was going. I thought it was just, oh, she's connecting with the elementals, with the energy of the plants but it feels like that's almost a vortex spot and we always think of vortex as these powerful places to connect with the energy. But I wonder if there have been that many drownings there, if there's a residual thing that she's picking up on.
I would imagine so. I mean, all that tragedy in such a relatively short span of time. Now, I have read encounters where people have been able to change the energy of a spot through concentrated prayer over a long period of time. So I do think saying prayers or tying a ribbon of acknowledgement around a tree near this dam would be a wonderful thing to do, and visualize, sending a lot of light and healing. Some green energy would be great. But I don't necessarily feel that it's a warning to her family. But if all those people had incidences there, I think I would fish somewhere else.
I think I would too. And I feel like there's a really distinct difference between what she was picking up from the land, the elements, the water, all of that, and that feeling of being watched. Those are two very different feelings, because I've had that feeling out in nature where I know there's something that's not It's not it's the difference between when an animal is watching you and a person is watching you. There's a subtle difference between what it feels like. And that connection with earth energy, with water spirit, with all of that other stuff is very different than feeling like you're being watched.
Could be a puckwudgie.
Ooh, I don't know what a puckwudgie is.
I'm gonna tell you. There's
Okay.
a lot of, First People, Native Americans have stories about puckwudgies, and they are these little beings that live in the woods, and they don't want us in there, and so they will, watch us and then somehow lure us into either falling off a cliff or drowning in water.
Oh my.
Yeah,
So, so you have to wonder if there's something with that land, and we don't know where this person is from. Were their practices done there at some point?
could be, could be. It's fascinating to think about. We might think, "Oh, I own this house I live in." We don't own anything. We don't own the land, there's no ownership. So many things have happened on the land before we even came into existence. So we don't know, and I think it is important to respect wherever we are. But the way land stuff works, I don't know, it really freaks me out. I told you how in my old neighborhood on my cul-de-sac, every one of us was a single mom through divorce or widowhood.
Oh, I never realized that.
Yeah, I find that really odd. Like, you'll see commonalities in certain neighborhoods, and it just makes you wonder, is there some type of juju connected to this land that I don't know about?
Uh-huh.
I think it's always important to respect the land.
100%, yes.
Okay, our next one says, I had a cool, crazy dream last night. I was jogging and went inside a house. I jogged through the kitchen and saw my cousin Mark, who had died a little over a year ago, along with two other people I didn't know. I said hi to him, and he said, wait, and came over to hug me. I don't think I was aware he was dead in my dream. He hugged me hard, and when I started to end the hug, I could tell he wasn't finished hugging. I've always had a fondness for him and his quirky ways. I proceeded to jog out to the balcony. I was in awe of the night sky and the vastness of the stars. I came back in saying, wow, that view is amazing. He said, if you think that's cool, check out the view over on this side. We walked to the side balcony, and the view was clearer, bigger, and I could see outer space. He said, see the line at the very top? That's where the transformation happens. I feel like I understood what he meant. I then realized that I should try and get back home since it was dark. I put my address in my phone to get directions. Here's the funny part. I woke up and wrote the dream down. I didn't feel like that was a visitation because I've always heard that they seem so real and you just know when it's a visit. I figured it was just my brain having fun, a little story time. Then I got into my car to leave, and your podcast from August of 2022 titled Dream Visitation started playing. Interesting, right? That wasn't playing the last time I listened to you both. I haven't listened to that one for a long time. I guess the universe is rolling their eyes at me like she doesn't get it yet. Throw her something so she'll figure it out. I think our guides are cousins, dear listener. I feel the same way. Yeah, sometimes when we have those dream visitations, it does feel really, really real. But there are other times. Okay, so here's the difference. When they come to us, it feels very, very real. So what I mean by that is if you have a dream of your deceased loved one and you are dreaming that you are in your home or in their home that they lived in on earth, it feels more real for some reason. But when you have a dream where you're jogging to what I think of as this, like, I don't know, this way station between the worlds, right? I feel as though there's this place between our earthly world and the other side where those who have died can meet with us in the dream state. When we go there as souls in the dream state, it often doesn't feel as real as a visitation when they come to us. So I think this listener was going to that way station area, which again I need a better word for. And the fact that he was telling her, check out the view from the other side. This is where the transformation happens. I mean, how cool is that, Denise?
It's incredibly cool.
Yeah. I mean, he was trying to show her, that, you know, when you die, you go through this beautiful outer space, and then you transform, and you are on the other side, and you are light, and you are stars, and you are all that is and was and ever shall be. World without end. Sorry.
No, but then also to get in the car and have a podcast episode from 3 years ago on dream visitation start to play,
Can't make that up.
you definitely can't make that up,
I
and
love it.
I do too. So, the next one, I'm feeling very lost with how my life is going. I've tried manifestation, affirmations, giving gratitude, visualization, and I believe it does work. I've noticed a lot of synchronicities, which is pretty cool. However, I'm still feeling stuck. I think I was throwing anything at the wall that could possibly stick. My husband and I are having financial difficulty. I have two businesses, a wedding cake business and a print on demand business. I'm on the fence about whether to give up my cake business because I'm not getting the clientele I want. I had 0 bookings for 2026 and instead focus on my print on demand. However, I have yet to make any sales. My intuition has been taken over by worry. So here's my question. For many years, I've seen the number 514 everywhere, places that I would never expect. There's an ebb and flow to it. Is it a sign from my guides? When I see this number, I think about what I'm thinking in that moment, but I'm still baffled. I've been trying to get more in touch with my guides, but I know my anxiety gets in the way. And what this person is writing really is happening for a lot of folks right now. This feeling of being drawn in a new direction. I know I'm doing everything right. I'm coloring inside the lines. I'm trusting spirit. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm seeing little synchronicities, but I still feel stuck. Personally, I think it's part of the energy right now getting us ready for something more, but it's also, in addition to that, getting bombarded with economic insecurity, fear, and stress doesn't help matters any.
No, it definitely does not, and it's going to make getting that intuitive download and insight and help a little bit harder. But I'd like to comment on the numbers.
Please.
5 is a number of change and adventure, but it is also a number of impatience. It means, you know, think about 5 and the numbers in numerology, you look at the numbers 1 to 9. So 5 is halfway there. So it's like you're almost there, but you're not there, and you're impatient, and you just want it to go, and you want it to be successful, either the wedding cake or the print on demand. I keep thinking of that quote, you know, you can't serve two masters. So I do feel like you need to pick one before you can fly, right?
Hmm.
1 is the number of ambition and drive, but it's also the number of having to do it all on your own. So it could be a message that you might need to collaborate or partner or network. And 4 is the number of education. So I feel like what your guides are trying to tell you is you have good ideas, but you're too impatient. You're trying to start these businesses before you're fully ready. You might not be networking or advertising or connecting with other people in the ways you need to be. And you might need more education, either on these businesses or on how to promote and market your business. But I feel that those numbers are a message to slow down and really try to focus on one business at a time and work on networking, marketing, and really learning the ins and outs that will make this the success you want it to be.
My sign for needing to look at something from a different strategy is I'll see someone moving a chessboard, and that's what I'm seeing. So I wonder if there's looking at this from a different perspective. And with the numbers, I got an intuitive nudge to add them together. So 5 plus 1 plus 4, which would be 10 and goes down to 1, which really supports what you were just saying. 1, new beginning, fresh start. So I wonder if going into a 1 year is going to make a big difference at 2026 for this person.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. And we're in the 9 year, which is getting rid of all the stuff that's not working for you. So I think hopefully if she focuses on just one of these businesses, the one that really gets her excited, then she'll
Yes.
start to see the success that is rightfully hers.
Yeah.
Okay, our next one says, every morning I get up and I take a walk by the water on my way to work. This morning I was not in a good mood. I got out of my car to start and I immediately found a crow's feather. I love crows, so this made me very happy. So then I started talking to my higher ups and guides. I asked them, "Can you please just leave me an eagle feather?" I don't even know why I asked. I've never asked for specific feathers. On my way back, an eagle flew right over my head. So I said to the higher ups, "Thank you. I guess that will have to do." And I was just okay with it. I got back to my car, and to my surprise, I found the eagle feather right by my tire. I'm sending you a picture. It was a beautiful secret moment for me. Wow.
Oh my
Those are some
goodness.
Johnny on the spot guides. But this is another example of which came first. Like, I always wonder this because she said she's never asked for a feather before, a specific feather.
Mhm.
So, were her guides trying to give her a message and dropped this idea into her head, and that's why the eagle feather was right there? Do you know what I mean? Or did she just suddenly come up with this?
Right. And
I
it
think it was her guides, and I think she needs to look at eagle and what it symbolizes for her as opposed to crows.
yeah. And both are powerful messengers, and
Yes.
both have a connection with that between the realms.
I just read this story on, I don't know, Facebook or Instagram, and you know me, I had to Google it, and fact checked it, and it's not true, but it's still a nice story. And the story is that the crow is one of the only birds that will try to attack an eagle, and that's not true. But anyway, and the eagle will not attack back at the crow. It just flies higher because the crow can only go so high with altitude and the eagle can soar even higher. And so the allegory is if you have enemies or people attacking you, don't fight back, just rise above them. It's a great story, right?
Right.
And so I just wonder, it's interesting that I just saw that story and then this email came in. So I think she should do some research on crows and eagles because I think her
Yes.
guides are trying to bring her a message, and that's why she had the idea to ask for an eagle feather.
And to really take the time to sit with that eagle feather to see why. Because something big, that's not a random.
Yeah,
That's that there's something to that. And it's a very, very, very powerful message to get that.
I agree.
Uh, Our next one, first, I want to thank you both for your dedication to this podcast. It's been a consistent source of light, lessons, and peace in my life. You're very welcome. Thank you for listening. I typically listen on my drive to work, and it puts me in the right mindset for the day ahead. Secondly, I want to say hi to the community and thank you to anyone who has shared this story on this monthly Community Connections. I thoroughly enjoy listening to everyone's stories, and it makes me feel less alone. Oh. Now I'd like to share some of my stories with you. I've had incredible signs appear to me in the last couple of years, but this year has blown me away. My grandfather passed last year, and he was the first of my grandparents to pass. My family is close-knit. We always got together for birthdays, holidays, and weekly family dinners, but I wasn't emotionally close to this particular grandfather. He was very much a boys don't cry guy who enjoyed stuff like hunting and football. I'm the complete opposite, so we never really had a ton to talk about. After he passed, I talked to him on my drive to work one morning. I said, "Hey, Pappy, surprise. I'm a woo woo girl, and I bet you didn't think you'd be talking to me in the afterlife. Yes, I know you're there and can hear me. I'll be waiting for a call back. It may take you some time to get the hang of it, and that's okay." Fast forward about 2 months, right around the new year, I'm at the gym thinking about my goals for this year and thought I need to pick a sign. I picked an oyster because my love for the ocean and because of the phrase, the world is your oyster. It just felt fitting. Then I looked up at the TVs above the treadmill and I see this beautiful carriage house on HGTV with a small group of people celebrating in the backyard with a plate of oysters. Couple days after, I'm driving to work talking to my guides about closing the chapter of my current job and finding something more meaningful. I see a license plate right after that says June 17th. I'll never forget that date. As June 17th approached, I was hit with the news. They were dissolving my division. I couldn't believe it. How crazy to receive that clear of a message. Then about a week after that happens, I was listening to an episode of Psychic Teachers, and there was a question about, can your spirit guides, angels, and ancestors hear all of your thoughts? Samantha said, no, you have to welcome them into your thoughts. I immediately paused the podcast and started chatting with my pappy because I wasn't sure how much I had actually invited him into my recent thoughts. A couple of days go by, and I'm lounging on the couch with my husband watching TV and scrolling Pinterest. I come across this picture of a little nymph girl nestled inside an oyster cuddling a pearl. I click on the picture, and below are two emojis, a buck and an angel wing. This undoubtedly was my pappy sending me this. I could hardly believe this beautiful sign from him. The next day on my drive from work, I started talking to Pappy and told him how impressed I was with the picture he sent me. Literally seconds after I say this, a car passed me with a license plate that had almost all sevens. 7 is my favorite number. I was also born on the 7th. My jaw dropped, then I laughed and told him he was being quite the show off. As I write you, I'm still in the process of helping the division shut down. I've been very frustrated about what to do next. The company has offered me a position in another department, which I'm grateful for, but I don't think it's where I'm meant to be. I've asked my team of light so many times for help and guidance, but it's been radio silent. In addition to the uncertainty of my career, this year has been incredibly trying in my personal life as well. My grandmother, Pappy's wife, is now on hospice. My other grandfather and my dad had recent health scares, but luckily they're both doing better, knock on wood. My sister was pregnant but lost her baby. I just feel like this year I can't have a moment of peace. I'm always waiting for another phone call with bad news. I'm angry and sad all the time. I've never felt this broken. Because of this, I feel I'm in a period that I'm disconnected from my team of light. I think my anger and grief have made it hard to connect, but damn it, now is when I need you the most, you know? Unfortunately, this is where my story ends for now. I truly believe that everything will fall into place, but I wanted to share my story in the event someone else is going through a tough time in life. I hope it makes you feel less alone. There have always been many times I've listened to other people's stories and they've provided a sense of peace. All of the silent battles we persevere don't have to be silent. There's a sense of healing when we tell our story. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. So many synchronicities, clear messages, things that meant so much personally to this person, and validation that that she is being heard and that there is a connection with the other side. And as we always say, please know you're in our thoughts and our prayers during this difficult time in your life, because it sounds like you're getting really blasted.
And there are times in our life when we go through that. Those bad luck and good luck cycles is what it feels like. And it is so hard because that is when our guides tend to be silent. And that's why I always compare it to taking a test in a classroom. The teacher is there, but she's not going to give you all the answers to the test because it's test time. But sometimes, Denise, when you're in those moments, you don't want to hear someone like me going, well, this is just a test time. You want to go, F you, it's a hard test.
Right. Enough is enough.
Enough is enough. And I think it's important to do exactly what this listener did and write it all down and share it because, while we haven't experienced everything this person has experienced, I think we all have been through those years where it's like, really, when it rains, it pours type of thing. I love that. I love that line from is it Wordsworth who said, "Into every life a little rain shall fall."
Mm-hmm.
And I remember writing in my journal, "Okay, but it's a flippin' hurricane right now," like, when I was having one of those years. So I completely understand. That's why I had that sign up in my house forever. This too shall pass, to remind me that everything is a season. And I think that's why it is so important during those down times to really rely on that connection to spirit in whatever way will help you. What I have found helps me a lot during those down times is, yes, I've said this before. I'm all about the pity party. Throw yourself a pity party, validate how shitty this time is and how hard it is and how you're at your breaking point, and do some self-care things to help you. But in tandem with that, what has always helped me is doing anonymous acts of kindness for other people. It just gets me out of myself. So you can, do anything that just uplifts you. You can take time to send people meaningful letters about what they really mean to you. I have a friend who's going through a really difficult time, and yes, we talk about it on the phone. We talk about it when we have lunch together, but I don't know, there's something different about the written word. So I just wrote her a letter, and just told her exactly what I see in her and how she's going to get through this and how she has love and support of me and all our other friends behind her. And she said that really meant a lot to her. There's something powerful about just writing a letter to someone. Or my angel coins. I love to leave my angel coins around, or just do something. I will often take a book that I've loved and I'll write a little note in it about what the book meant to me, and I'll just leave it at a library or an airport or a coffee shop. So just little tiny random acts of kindness, they really help me get out of myself when I'm in that I can't take any more space of life.
And I think this person did just exactly that by sharing the story with the other listeners, because there's someone out there that heard this and is thinking, that's my story.
Yeah.
That's happening to me. And knowing that someone else understands on a core level what you're going through or experiencing brings a level of comfort that even if you never meet that person, just knowing someone understands it is it's so precious. It's beyond precious.
Yeah.
It can be a lifeline.
Exactly. It's connection.
Right.
It's community. See what I did there?
Yes, I did. It was very good.
Our next one says, my question has to do with numerology. I honestly am not sure how I noticed this pattern, but every significant event in my life, good or bad, seems to include the numbers 3, 4, and 7. I've struggled for a long time trying to explain it, or if there is a meaning, being able to figure it out. The moments are too many to chalk up to mere coincidence. Well, 3 is a very powerful number. It is the number of creation. Pythagoras said that the number 1 marries the number 2, and together, out of that union, they create the number 3. So it's a number of creation and giving birth to something. But it's also a number of connection, and it has powerful meaning in mythology. I mean, every time a fairy godmother appears or a genie, they give you 3 wishes. There's the 3 little pigs. I mean, we see the number 3 repeated over and over in myth, folktale, and fairy tales. And so it's always about creativity, communication, and connection. It's a call to really share your gifts and your talents with the world. The number 4 is all about, like I said before, learning, really educating and studying yourself and something that you're working on or passionate about. But it's also the number of organization and clarity and loyalty. It's the number of feeling balanced. You can't have a table without 4 legs to balance it and keep it upright. And the number 7 is the mystic's number. It's the seeker's number. It's all about intuition and going within and having some solitude to really figure out who you are and why you're here. So I feel as though these numbers throughout your life have been telling you that you are creative, you are a student of life, and that you are here to seek the inner mysteries. And once you have figured out some of what you've been searching for, because I don't think any of us ever figure it all out. But once you feel as though you've gotten some insight, then you're supposed to really turn that student on its head and become the teacher and create ideas and avenues and ways that you can share those insights with the world. That's how I would interpret it.
And I have absolutely nothing to add to that. So that was no,
Sorry, did I go on too much?
no, because I don't have that base of knowledge, but it always fascinates me, all of the things that you bring in with the numerology. That was incredible.
Well, good. Thank you.
You're welcome. This next one comes all the way from, if I'm saying this wrong, I apologize, Coronella, Victoria, Australia. Big hello. I finally found my first hagstone. After walking the beach this morning, I asked for hagstone to show itself, and to my delight, it did. I got it home, gave it a wash, and to my surprise, there were 2 giant holes. I'm so thrilled. Would love for you to do an episode all about hagstones and the origins and stories. And they've attached a photo, which I I think we've talked about hagstones off and on different episodes, and you have more of a base of knowledge about those as well. But is there any significance to there being two holes rather than one?
I don't know. I think we should do a show on this. We could do a show on stones instead of crystals, like
Oh,
maybe even seashells. I mean, there's so many cool things and mythological and folktale stories about shells. So we could do a just gifts from the sea type of an episode. I would think that two holes could definitely amplify the energy and the good luck of a hagstone because finding a hagstone or a holy stone is supposed to increase your luck and protection. And so I wonder if two holes is just twice the protection.
would make sense.
It does. What do you think, though? Do you think that'd be a good show?
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
Yeah, I do too. Okay. Our next one says, soon after my husband died, I dreamt that he was in my kitchen. He came to me, gave me a hug, and said, I'm sorry, but I have to go now. He turned and faded away through the back door. After that, it was like I was living in two worlds. When I slept, we were together again, like nothing ever happened. It got to be too much for me. I was actually tired from being awake 24/7. I asked for him to go to the light with his friends and family, and I stopped dreaming about him. Now I miss our life in my dream state, and I want him back. My daughter gave me your book, The Awake Dreamer. I just started it. I'm hoping we can reconnect. I asked for a sign through a song. I got in the car, and the song Let's Get It On from Marvin Gaye played. It was the song he wanted played at our wedding. I didn't let him play it, but I know he's still here, just not in my dreams. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy the book. I thank you in advance for your insight. Wow. Wow, that is absolutely what a testimony of love. So this is a message I often get in readings, and I'm sure you do too, Denise. My symbol for it is someone standing on a giant map and they have a foot in two different countries. And so the message I get often, especially between spouses, is that the deceased, the physically deceased spouse, is going to keep a foot in two worlds, meaning he's not going to fully cross over until he is completely assured that his family is okay. And I think that is what happened when you had this beautiful, beautiful connection as though you were living in two worlds. I think he was just keeping a foot here and a foot in heaven just to make sure everyone was okay. I've seen that a lot. Another message I've gotten a couple of times, well, often when I'll do a reading, I'll ask them to show me their life on the other side. And sometimes I'll even get an image or an idea or a symbol of their home. And a couple of times I've seen an image of a condo. And it just, I don't know, it always cracked me up because I remember this one father in particular. He died in his late 50s, and his wife was grieving him, and his daughter, my client, had come to see me, and she was going through a divorce. And let me just say, everyone needed this man, and they did not need him to die when he died. And so when I asked him what he was doing on the other side, he showed me the condo because he said, I'm not building our house until, my wife joins me, and I'm going to keep a foot in both worlds checking on them. And through the years since he's passed, oh my gosh, he's so there watching over them. It's just beautiful to see. So I think that's what happened with this listener. When she told him, this is too much for me, I need you to go into the light, and the dream stopped, it does not mean that he stopped checking on her, being there for her, loving her, supporting her, watching out for the family. He was just doing what she asked, right? And now that she's asked for these dreams to start up again, I very well believe they will. And the fact that she heard the song Let's Get It On from Marvin Gaye as soon as she asked for that sign through a song, it means he's still there, and he's going to continue to be there and show her signs. And if you ask for him to come back to you in a dream, he will. If you expect it or you need it too much, it might take a little bit more time. But if you just trust and surrender, um, and you can also tell him to come through other family members' dreams with messages for you, that's often easier for them to get through that energy if you're just needing it too much. Does that make
It,
sense?
it makes perfect sense. And I've known several people over the years that have this vivid life with their loved one in spirit. They come in many times Like, whenever anything big is going on I'm thinking of one person in particular, when anything really big is going on in her life, her husband, who's in spirit, shows up and walks her through it or gives her a sign or gives her something cryptic to help her figure it out. And I've known a few people over the years, they have that whole other life with their person in spirit. And then equally, the other end of that is people who would give anything just to have one dream where their loved one comes back and sees them.
Yeah.
And I've never found any rhyme or reason to why it it's not that the person in spirit doesn't want to come through, but I think that sometimes they, as you've shared before, they're trying to figure out how to, but equally it might be the way the person is wired. I've had very, very, very few dreams about the people that I love in spirit, and I'm a medium, so it seems like it would make sense that I'd get these really vivid dreams, but I don't.
Do you think it's the personality, though?
It could be,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like, you're a Mainer, meaning I feel as though everyone in your family was independent, pull yourself up by your bootstraps type thinking, and so they're probably like, "She doesn't need me to come in a dream. She knows I love her. She knows I'm supporting her," right? I don't know.
Could
Could be.
could be, yeah.
My mother-in-law, who came to me a lot in dreams in the years after she initially passed, that was her personality. Like, she would remember if I had a dentist appointment and would call me that afternoon, "How to go with the dentist?" And I'd be like, "Fine, they cleaned my teeth," you know? Like, she was
Mhm.
very involved in our lives in a really lovely way, whereas my dad was he didn't care about that stuff, you know? And he was just if you checked in with him, he'd check in, but he wouldn't it just wasn't his personality. And so when I had that dream where he showed me how he was working on his life review, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna pop in to dream. I'm working. I'm studying myself." That's so his personality.
Right.
So I hope people don't take it personally if their loved one hasn't come to them in a dream.
Right, and I wonder if for some people, and this is a very general statement, you're still working through some grief or some things, and that's on some internal level making it more difficult to make that connection in the dream world.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
Um, Our next one goes in a bit of a different direction and says, I often finish other people's thoughts and I feel like I have an intuitive sense of others' mental intent during a conversation. Is this common in just ADHD? I also dream every night, but my dreams don't seem to have a message that I personally can see. I'm a Gemini and born in the middle of that sign, so I do talk to myself as if there are two people that want different goals. Is that common and just another weird thing about myself? And I I don't know. I really don't know. I think that being able to finish other people's thoughts or have a feeling is an intuitive sense. It's spontaneous. It happens. Someone's mental intent. And it goes back to the show we did about tapping into creativity or intuition. Are you using your life experiences, what you've learned, what you've experienced over the years to pick up on what's coming next? Are you tapping into something that your brain is working in the background with? And that may be a sign of ADHD that makes it more prevalent. I don't know. With the dreams every night that don't seem to have a message, I get cryptic. I've shared this before. I get puzzles. I have to figure them out. I don't get the clear message. Whereas you'll dream like you're right in the room with someone.
Yeah, but sometimes I have those cryptic dreams that are just symbolic or are nothing. I think
Yeah.
some dreams are just our brain doing a mind dump.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my favorite image of that is from the animated movie Inside Out, and it shows the brain going, "All right, what are we gonna have her dream about? Unicorn, you're up." And, and
Yeah.
they go through, like, her stresses and worries through the day, and they're like, "All right, how are we gonna symbolize this? How are we gonna let this go?" So I think some dreams are just a way for the brain to kinda cleanse itself. A lot of the first part of this question reminds me of an older show we did on the, Hyoka empath.
Oh, wow. That's going way back.
Wait,
Yes.
but remember how it said those empaths are often misunderstood and they interrupt people, because they're impatient and they know what they're gonna say, and they have to learn to kinda slow down and just listen?
Right.
It kinda reminds me of that, so I wonder if that could be it. I know my kids complain a lot about watching certain movies with me because I'll often, like, figure out the ending, and that's an intuitive thing. I'm sure you do that too, and it's,
Mhm.
so I've had to learn to just be quiet about that stuff too. So it might just be that. And I also wanna say, like, that last question, is that common or just another weird thing about myself? Who wants to be common? Do you
No,
wanna be common?
not at all, no.
No. No. So if that is a weird thing about yourself, embrace it and just love it because I think it's awesome to be weird and unique and different and not common.
And the Gemini part, conversation, communication, racing my that seems to be part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I talk to myself. Do you talk to yourself?
Oh, yeah, have to have some intelligent conversation.
Yeah. That is the best answer. Okay, our last one says, "Do you have any suggestions for materials or books for empathetic children?" Yes, I do. So, some fiction books I would love to recommend for empathic, intuitive children. One would be The Invisible Boy. It's by Trudy Ludwig. It's a really cute story that focuses on a quiet boy named Brian who feels invisible at school. And it really highlights the power of small acts of kindness and inclusion. So, it can help empathic children recognize when someone might be feeling left out or unseen. There's also another fiction book called The Rabbit Listened by Corey Dorfield, and it's a really sweet book that highlights the importance of listening. It's about the main character Taylor has this creation that he's worked hard on and it's destroyed. So a lot of different animals try to offer solutions or distract him, but it's the quiet rabbit who simply sits and listens that helps Taylor process his feelings. So it's perfect for teaching children that sometimes the best way to help someone is just to be compassionate, to just be present and listen. And then, of course, there's the book Wonder, which is more for middle school kids. Was turned into a movie. It is a chapter book for slightly older children, but it's a beautiful story about Augie, who's a boy with facial differences who attends a mainstream school for the first time, and it's told from different perspectives. So it allows the reader to actually walk in the shoes of different characters. It's just a beautiful story. Nonfiction, there's a really great book called A Handful of Quiet, Happiness in Four Pebbles by Thich Nhat Hanh that really teaches children the pebble meditation. So it's a nonfiction book, it's a guide to mindfulness, and it talks about four pebbles. So you have freshness, solidity, reflection, and freedom, and how to focus on each. So it's great for highly sensitive kids. There's another one called The Master of Mindfulness: How to Be Your Own Superhero in Times of Stress by Lori Grossman. And this book was co-created with her by a group of fifth graders. So it's really got a kid-friendly uh, mindset in the book, and it helps guide children to navigate difficult emotions like anger, frustration, and sadness. And then finally, there's You, Me, and Empathy by Janine Sanders, which uses rhyming prose to help define empathy and uses real life scenarios that allows children to consider and think, what would I do? So those are just some great books on empathy.
And I'd like to add, Judith Orloff has her new book coming out, The Sensitive Bunny, that will be coming out in October. So that would be geared towards a younger group. And another book that's great for younger children, and we did an episode on this quite a while ago, is Claire and Her Magical Friends by Jen Lansing and Kate Trotter. And it's
Oh,
based on,
yeah.
and introducing kids to their own ability to connect and what their sensitivity might feel like to them. So what I absolutely love these little people coming onto the planet. We've said this over and over. They're wide open. They're here for the change. We're getting it ready for them. They're a beautiful, beautiful, clear conduits of light and spirit. But also people are stepping up to develop the tools they need to encourage them, to support them, to let them know being the way you're wired is exactly the way you need to be. And it it brings me joy in a way I can't even explain.
I know. Isn't that the truth? I love it. And I love all these questions and stories. Thank you so much for taking time to send them in. If you have a story or a question you want to send in, remember it's enlightenedempaths@gmail. And if you want to check out some of our events and services, just go to thegratefulmessenger.com or samanthafay.com. Have a wonderful week. Remember, as always, to show up, do great work, and share your light.
Take care.